What is a karmic marriage? Are you in one or should you be? Keep watching to find out. You may be familiar with a marriage like this. A couple had enormous attraction to each other when getting to know each other. After a short or sometimes longer while, they are fighting a lot and there just doesn't seem to be any love left. Is this a karmic relationship? If it is, when is it over? When can they separate? I'll discuss all of this in this first video in my 3-part video series about using the Violet Flame for relationships. Did you know that the messenger of the Great White Brotherhood, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, was in a karmic relationship when she was younger? At one point she learned exactly what had happened and why their mutual karma had to be balanced. It involves rape and murder. I'll tell you more in a moment. Just a quick note, all information of this video has been taken from these 3 books published by Summit University Press: Soulmates and Twin Flames, Karma and Reincarnation, Finding a Higher Love. I'll add the links below this video in the video description. Okay, let's get started. A karmic marriage can be with a partner you have positive or negative karma with. In this video, we mainly will focus on a negative karmic marriage, because we want to know how the Violet Flame can help us balance that karma. But first, I'd like to show you what a positive karmic marriage can look like, taken from the book Finding a Higher Love by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. In this example, a woman describes her marriage like this. My husband and I have been married for over 15 years. We are a good match in that we see life and the world in much the same way, making it easy to make important decisions and to devote ourselves to common goals. We have worked together on environmental issues since before we were married, and there is a feeling of mission and of duty that underlies our reason for being together. There's a strong sense that we have to do this work and we have to do it together. It has all come naturally and our lives are built around it. It seems that the universe simply made it happen, so we don't even question that this is what we are meant to do. We have a happy and fulfilling marriage, and yet our fulfillment is found mainly through our mutual work and accomplishments together. This sounds really beautiful. You can accomplish a lot with the right partner. Unfortunately, not all marriages are with partners we have positive karma with. Let's take a look now at negative karmic marriages. Here's a short description of what a negative karmic marriage is like. This is from the book Karma and Reincarnation by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Sometimes we see 2 people who seem to have little in common. What they do have in common is karma. In a karmic marriage, individuals are drawn together to balance mutual karma with each other. According to Elizabeth, a karmic relationship is the toughest of all. She said, "The karmic tie may be the tightest of all, because it is not free, it is binding. Because it is not balanced, the internal harmonies are wanting. And from time to time, there's an emptiness, a loneliness that reveals the inadequacy of a relationship based solely on karma." So we're talking about complicated karmic bonds 2 people may have. I don't know about you, but I do know married couples who don't seem to fit together at all. And you sometimes wonder how they manage to still be together without having any love left for each other. But why do 2 people feel attracted to each other so strongly in the first place? I mean, people need a lot of love to want to get married. How can they be in love so much in the beginning and not see that their relationship is probably not going to work in the long term? According to Elizabeth Clare Prophet, when meeting the person you're supposed to be married to due to past negative karma, the first meeting and getting to know each other can be extremely attractive and beautiful. This is because at a subconscious level, you are so happy you have found a person you can balance a certain karma with. Since your soul is striving to get higher in her development, she wants to balance this karma. She knows that this is the only way to eventually be reunited with her twin flame, the love of our lives. The twin flame relationship is very special, by the way. I'll cover it in my 3rd video in this series. Elizabeth Clare Prophet explains, "Sometimes the worse the karma, the more intense the impact when we first meet someone. And we love much because there is much to be forgiven. A negative experience of the past, such as violence, passionate hatred, murder, non-caring for one's children, one's family, something that you have been involved in with someone else that has caused an imbalance both in their soul and in yours, and perhaps in the lives of many, is experienced as a weight upon the heart and an absence of resolution at the soul level. This is a very gnawing condition that troubles our consciousness until it is resolved by love." She also said, Often the most magnetic attractions are based on a past life liaison of intense hatred, hurt, or even violence. Frequently, the only way we can overcome the karma stemming from a severe crime or betrayal is by expressing intense love in a husband-wife relationship. The universal law of karma necessitates that whenever we have hated another, we must give love to balance that karma and quell the raging fires of hate. There's a lot of information in these paragraphs. So she says that because your soul knows and is looking for a resolution, she recognizes the other person and wants to make amends. The initial attraction between these two people can be very, very strong. She also says that whatever we did wrong in a past life, and she mentions it can be as bad as murder and violence, your soul wants to make amends, so she and the other soul or souls that were involved in the situation can be at peace again. Karmic law requires that severe hatred is repaid with severe love. This is very interesting, folks. So why can karmic relationships be so difficult? Well, you can certainly imagine that when you meet someone who has killed you in another life, you might have some issues with being with this person during the course of the relationship. Deep down you know what has happened. Old wounds are reopened and a part of you wants to get away from this person as far as possible. However, it is important to work through this karma. Many of us have experienced many negative things in our past lives, and as an understandable reaction, we close off our hearts and create certain blockages that we think will protect us from further hurt. However, we do need to work on this. We need to open our hearts again to give and receive more love. So, do we have to get married in order to balance the mutual karma? The short answer is no. We balance karma in other types of relationships as well, such as between parents and children, friends, siblings, colleagues, etc. But marriage is a particularly strong bond that forces two people to face their mutual karma. In a marriage, you have to balance your karma with this person if you want to stay together. There's just no way around it. And if you don't do it in this lifetime, who knows, you may have to work on it in a similar relationship in future lifetimes. However, the good news is you have the violet flame, which gives you the great opportunity to not having to work through all the karma, but only a portion of it. Just because you are in a karmic marriage doesn't mean that you have to stay together with this person until death separates you. I know many of you have been raised Christian and know what Jesus said. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. I was raised Christian and with the belief that divorcing is a very, very bad thing to do. I even know someone who stayed in a karmic marriage because of this statement and their belief that it was against God's will to get divorced. They became an alcoholic because they could not bear being in this situation. Eventually, they did get divorced and it was the absolute right thing to do. As an aside, Elizabeth said that Jesus was actually referring to twin flames in this statement, not to karmic marriages. So when do you know that the mutual karma has been balanced and it's okay to separate from your husband or wife, if that is what you want? In her book, Finding a Higher Love, Elizabeth Clare Prophet answers the following with being asked, under what circumstances do you recommend breaking up with someone? The time to break up is the point at which you realize that there is nothing served by the relationship. The relationship is not contributing to a spiritual or even a positive consciousness in the two individuals involved. It is not unlocking the best creative forces in each of the people. And one person or the other may be encroaching on the other's reason for being or their growth. Another reason for a breakup would be when the relationship produces any negative quality or you notice in yourself or in the other person an increasing lowering of the joy of life. You may sometimes get despondent or depressed. This may be because something within one or both of you is detrimental to the unfoldment and realization of your partner's potential to be the highest and the best of himself. You might also break up with someone because you recognize that the purpose of the relationship has already been fulfilled. Something has been gained, both parties have benefited, and there no longer seems to be a benefit or mutual interest. And now let's look at one of the most important questions. Can you actually be happy in a negative karmic marriage? Elizabeth says, after certain karma is balanced, a couple and a family can experience greater harmony and a deeper love. I have seen this in many relationships. A couple was brought together for karmic reasons. They worked through their karma, and then the relationship evolved into something greater than they had ever imagined. So there's always hope and mercy. God is good. Before getting into Elizabeth's own story, and I promise it is really worth listening to, I'd like to speak about how the violet flame can help you in a karmic marriage. Whatever it is that is not right between you and your husband or wife, you visualize what you want while invoking the violet flame. If your husband comes home every night and the only thing that he does after work is drinking beer and watching TV, and you actually would like to go out for a walk or socialize as a couple, put it into the vile flame. Imagine all the things you two will do after he comes home after work. Taking a stroll at a nearby park, going for a short hike in the mountains, go to a mall for some shopping, meeting some family and friends, whatever it is you want to do. Visualize it with the vile flame. If your husband is an angry person and it really gets to you, imagine him as the most loving husband you can imagine. Visualize all the things a loving husband would do to you and for you, and just keep on keeping on. Same thing if your wife is doing things that don't help the marriage. If you have issues visualizing, just take a picture of him or her and try to see the vile flame penetrating every cell of their body while invoking the vile flame. As I mentioned in another video, the karma in between two people can be pretty heavy. As Elizabeth said, it can even be murder. So it might take a while to balance it. You cannot use the vile flame 2 minutes per day for a week and then expect to have life-changing experiences right away. Some things take more time. I personally have had some experience with karmic relationships, and I can promise you the vile flame works. Alright, after speaking about all effects, let's look at Elizabeth's story of being married for 10 months to a man she had negative karma with. When she was younger, she met a boy called Dag in church. During the course of their relationship, she received inner instructions to serve him. Help him with his work, take care of him when he was sick, cook for him, etc. She obeyed these instructions. After a while, they got married. When she walked down the aisle, she heard a voice saying, "It is but for a little while." So she knew from the beginning of their marriage that they were not going to be married for a long time. One day, Elizabeth met Mark L. Prophet, her twin flame and spiritual teacher. At a conference, she begged Mark to tell her why she had to marry Dag. Mark told her that he knew from El Morya that she and Dag had karma that needed to be balanced in this lifetime. Otherwise, she could have not been trained and become a messenger for the Great White Brotherhood. This karma was also standing in between her and Saint Germain. Some of you may know that she was searching Saint Germain for several years before she actually found him. This karma she had with Dag was the reason why it took her so long to find Saint Germain. El Morya also said that if she had not married Dag, it would have taken her 9 years of general service to life to balance this karma. 9 years of general service versus 10 months of marriage with the one you have karma with? She balanced the same amount of karma in less than 1/9 of the time. Wow! Elizabeth also told us why she needed to serve Dag in this lifetime. She was born to a fisherman's family in Denmark in the 9th century. When she grew up, a young fisherman was interested in her. However, she had no interest in him. One day, when she was in the kitchen cutting vegetables, he came in and wanted to have sex with her. She rejected him, so he raped her. Elizabeth was outraged and reacted. She killed him with the same knife she had cut vegetables with. The karmic problem was the crime of murder is not justified by the crime of rape. You cannot take someone else's life because you have been raped by him. You make a lot of karma if you do. Therefore, when Elizabeth came to heaven after she passed and stood in front of the karmic board, she offered to render service to the soul of the man she had killed in order to balance the karma she had made. By the way, the karmic board is a spiritual board of ascended beings that governs mankind's karma. So, in several lifetimes, she was born to serve the soul who was now embodied as Dag. She was married to him and had to serve him. In one embodiment, she was married to him and he became disabled, and she had to take care of him. Coming back to the marriage with Dag. One day, Elizabeth was in the kitchen cutting vegetables. Her husband argued with her about something while being in the hallway. Elizabeth walked over to him with the knife in her hands. She started arguing back. At one moment, she looked at the knife, let it drop, and walked back into the kitchen. Letting the knife drop was the end of their story in karma. Shortly afterwards, they separated and got divorced. Sometimes we feel like we're being punished by God by situations we have to live through. It is so interesting to learn from these kinds of stories. It can help us to be a bit more positive about our own situations. I hope you liked the first video in this series on relationships. If you are in a karmic marriage or relationship, start using the vile flame today to free you from this karma. I'll add the books I mentioned to the description below this video. By the way, links included in this video may be affiliate links. If you purchase a product or service with the links that I provide, I may receive a small commission. This helps me to continue providing you with free content. Thanks for watching and have a great vile flame day.